In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today, we are going to dig into the idea or the topic of AI governance inside not just the marketing department, but inside businesses, and what that means for our policies and our procedures and the way that we manage our teams and how we stay current with those policies and ideas as the tools and the dynamic nature of AI continues to change. And my guest today is Prasanna Dhungel, and he's a second-time guest, and I appreciate deeply his willingness to come and have this conversation with me. Prasanna brings over 20 years of expertise in analytics and digital marketing, and as a managing partner of GrowByData, he offers invaluable insights into AI intelligence and the impact of AI on leaders at brands and agencies. And today we're going to talk about AI governance, policies, and procedures for businesses and teams. Prasanna, thank you so much for spending some time with me again.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Always a pleasure to be here. This is such a fascinating topic, and I'm super excited to share some of the ground reality, struggles, learnings today.
I'm so glad. This is it's a topic that doesn't get talked about enough yet. I think in the conversations I'm having with prospects and clients, they're not thinking about this yet. They're just kind of letting people do what they want in terms of how they're using the tools. A lot of companies, even forward-thinking companies. And so I appreciate your willingness to come in and start to build some structure around what's really a pressing issue inside how we deploy these tools.
Yeah, absolutely. It's changing so fast, and it almost reminds me of the security industry, where you have things changing in cybersecurity all the time.
Yeah.
And you think you know what you've done right, but before you know it, you get an attack. And so having the right mindset, the right process, the right time of team members to constantly be on top is so important to bring into the AI world.
Well, I agree. And let's just talk about it from the biggest picture about, what are some of the key considerations that a CEO or a business unit leader needs to be thinking about as they're crafting policy that they're going to then train their staff on?
Sure. So the first thing, so I view this as a three-pronged approach, Emmanuel. First is you need to understand what is going on.
Okay.
Right? So for example, you could be Nike, the brand. And so are you visible on important questions people are asking AI models, the LLMs, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Google AI, Gemini, and so on. So are you visible? If yes, how are you visible? Is it good, bad, neutral? Is the information that's showing up coming from you? Is it coming from a rogue site? Is it coming from a partner site? But what is showing up? And with this information, you really have to have the process inside your company, a committee, I like to say, an AI audit/surveillance committee that's looking at the information in real time, looking at what others are doing, and then building on top of guardrails that you already have. It's so dynamic, and I don't think it's a set and forget. It is not.
Yes.
And it's almost like, for example, in our company, we have a security company, and that committee is always looking. always trying to make sure that we are not caught off guard. They're always reading, they're always looking at our logs, they're always trying to see what others are doing. I just feel like you have to do the same here, which
Yeah.
is you have to understand visibility, number one. You have to understand what's showing up. Number two, how are you showing up? And number three, how can you change what you're showing up to appear positive, and at the same time internally have the rules and regulations and tools so that someone naively or someone with bad intention doesn't damage your brand.
Right. Yeah. So we have this concept of generative engine optimization and how the brand is being represented inside the LLMs. A certain amount of desire to stay educated about what's happening in the market, and then the policies and procedures about what we do and don't share with LLMs, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like the classic one is like in our world, I won't say everyone, but it almost feels like everyone is using LLMs these days.
Sure.
Because it's a huge productivity gain. You are able to ideate, but what's happening is you're using AI in a few ways which could expose you.
Absolutely. Yep.
You might be having a voice transcript on the background that you use to take notes and give you notes, but that's AI.
Yep.
And so we have had conversations with some of the largest brands in the world, and what they've asked us to do is not have AI on the background record,
Right.
because they're very careful that something they say, and the conversation we have is they're trying to share some of their weaknesses with the goal of us being helpful to them. But
Sure.
what you don't want to do is you don't want to expose your weakness to competitors or to the market,
Right.
because your stock price could get tanked. Right? So that's
Sure.
one example. The other example is you are uploading proprietary data, or you may
Absolutely.
be
Yep.
onto the LLM models, and so unless you blind it, unless you take precautions, your information could be out on the web.
Right.
And the third is programmers are really using some of these AI tools. They're sharing it in open source, but they're also using it as an instrument to gain productivity gains.
Right.
And so there's a fine line between using them to your advantage openly, to exposing your weakness, to exposing your secret sauce.
Right.
So it's a very sensitive topic that you want to carefully navigate.
From your perspective, is the kind of the pay for accounts like at ChatGPT, if I'm paying $200 a month for the robust chat offer, is that secure in any way?
And that's a fair question that I think about all the time, which is you know that the paid version gives you more features and functions.
Yeah.
It is faster, better, but is it secure? I'm not totally confident, Manuel. I mean, what experts have told me is we should have a private cloud model for ourselves,
Yep.
which is curated for us, that is more and more secure. So the world of private LLMs
Yep.
is where I see the market going,
Yep.
with a lot of guardrails, of course. But to answer your question, your most expensive tier of ChatGPT, again, I haven't looked. I'm not an expert in or I haven't read through the legal language, but
Right.
I'm not confident that it's totally secure.
So even inside password protected environments, it's still a best practice to scrub and anonymize the data, or the anonymize things as much as possible, and still get an output that's valuable. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Like, for example, you might be uploading your financials and you're trying to forecast your revenue, okay,
Yep.
for Q3. Now, what you want to do is you don't need to give your company's name on the file name. You don't need to give, your unit names and so on. You could scrub it, randomize it so that you understand and
Yep.
still use the power. That's one technique. The other technique I've seen, Emmanuel, is people use multiple chat engines.
Right.
So what they have done is they've created personas,
Yeah.
which is one persona could be for Prasanna, the other persona could be for John. And so if you are in different profiles and it's almost randomized. So you've scrubbed the data set, and
Yeah.
you've even randomized the person searching. And
Yep.
the other thing is you use Perplexity for certain things, ChatGPT for something else, Gemini for something else, and you have to use human intelligence to bring it together while also maintaining sensitivity.
It sounds like a duct tape blockchain to me.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to some of my colleagues in finance, and so what they were telling me is, you want to, how do we stay sensitive to financial information
Yep.
and still use the power of AI? And I don't think the answer is not use it at all,
Right.
because it gives you huge benefit. The answer is, how do you um, use it so that you don't disclose too much of your personal slash company information.
Right.
And here's the other danger, Emmanuel, I found. Like sometimes companies have limited accounts, and you could be using it across different teams and colleagues. And
Yep. Oh,
so
yeah.
you might naively upload something, and then you have someone else who you don't want to share it to review it. So
Yeah. Oh, geez. I hadn't even considered that, but now it's obvious now, right? One master account is going to share HR information to the wrong people, essentially, potentially.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. And so one of the other tactics has been departmental level accounts, and then even different accounts based on different tiers in the company.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting because the entrepreneur in me says, oh, well, here's an opportunity, right, to create these partitioned LLMs.
Oh yeah,
You have you seen an offer like that yet?
I've actually heard of private LLMs, Emmanuel.
Yeah. Yep.
So like you could use LLMs that are available publicly. You could also, just as a private cloud, like this reminds me, maybe 10 years ago there was a lot of concerns about AWS,
Right.
about how your data is not secure on AWS, how when you use a machine that's shared across companies, your
Sure.
data could have. So I think over time, AWS and the network industry built additional features and functions to put guardrails.
Sure.
And they also said, if you're super sensitive, we can create something very separate for you.
Right. Your own personal AWS server.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and the entrepreneur is also like, okay, whatever we just talked about is a business idea. I almost feel,
For sure. Yeah.
which is, how do you use the power of these different capabilities and randomize it, send it out, and bring it back.
Yep.
And I think I know that the industry will build capabilities like that. It has to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do know. I mean, we have a product that's a secure, HIPAA compliant, air gapped LLM, right? So,
Yep.
but that's out of reach for most small businesses. That's a $5,000 a month product, and most small businesses are not going to have a managed service like that. So, the I like the idea of your idea of using, even breaking up data and running it in different LLMs and then reconfiguring it. I think that is a great idea, and then also having departmental level uh, paid chat, secure, or not secure, but custom GPTs for each department, so that you're not sharing data that shouldn't be seen by other people. So nice.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing I've learned is the LLM learns about you and your preferences.
Yep.
And the more it knows about you, the answers get better and better. But if it is like folks in very different departments at different skill levels that are using the same, you don't you diminish the power of personalized LLMs, because you might be
Yeah.
asking very different questions than I am asking. And so if
Absolutely.
we're using the same, then yes, it's super helpful, but I feel like sometimes it limits how deep
Hmm.
it could be trained for you specifically.
Yeah, so that we end up kind of with our doppelganger, our professional doppelganger, right? Which is the collection of our work product, and in terms of deep research, the places we like to go and get information that we have assessed as accurate and valuable. And so that's one version, and then there's a departmental version that needs to be built, so I have access to the other work product from my colleagues, but then partitioned from other departments potentially.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, this is the world I see. And that's why, I mean, like stepping back, it's some of these best practices that interestingly have been in use in other areas like network. IT and network has used this for 30 years, 30 to
Right.
40 years.
Yep.
The cloud computing environment has done this all the time. The security committee has done this all the time. So I almost feel like it's a rebirth of some of the same best practices into
Sure.
the AI world. But
Yep.
that said, I do think that where there's not a lot of insights today is on visibility. It's almost like the Wild West and people don't know and they're almost shooting darts in the dark, which is why, I mean, our view is you have to understand, first of all, you have to understand your visibility.
Right.
You really need to understand what the heck is showing up, and what are important questions people are asking and is your brand portrayed? If yes,
Yep.
positively, is it getting picked up from your site? Is it getting picked up from somewhere else?
Right.
And how do you curate your reputation and make sure that you appear sharp and strong and you don't taint your picture with things that are going out to AI from
Yeah.
various folks in your company.
Yeah. Interesting. And then have you like built a tool to do that work for you for your company, Grow by Data, or are you using a third party to do that type of review?
Yeah, so what we have done is we have built LLM monitoring
Okay.
for ChatGPT, Perplexity, or even like Google and Gemini.
Yep.
And so what we've done is as a company, we are like a market intelligence company. We have been very strong in Google, but now, the last year, the source marketers are very curious about LLM.
Yeah.
And that's the question. And so we have also added capabilities to monitor LLM responses. And we're saying, hey, here's the 800-pound gorilla Google. Here's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Here's what ChatGPT is saying. And it's interesting. Here's a lot of similarity between the two platforms. Here's where the information is coming from on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's coming from your site or it's coming from an affiliate site. And here's how you're getting terrible reviews and here's what you should do. So that's the way we're trying to help brands stay on top
Nice.
and curate their experience and reputation.
I love it. And is this something that you're targeting for mid market, or is this an SMB level product? Tell me a
Yeah,
little bit about the what it costs and what's involved.
sure. So we as a company have focused on the mid to large brands,
Yep.
uh, and we price based on the amount of monitoring we do.
Hmm.
So based on, like, for example, you could be Toyota, the brand. And so what you want to do is you say, like, what are my top markets for Toyota?
Right.
What are what's the questions for SUVs versus electric cars? So based on your business lines and markets, we are monitoring various questions. And so we charge based on monitoring, number one. And
Yep.
more importantly, I don't want to just throw data. We really
Mhm.
curate and give insights and say, hey, Emmanuel, here's 3 things that a CMO cares for.
Right.
And so it's also professional services that we use.
Love it. Yeah. And then what are some of your favorite tools that you're using in your day-to-day activities, Prasanna?
Sure. So I have been amazed by ChatGPT, I have
Hmm.
to say.
Yeah.
And I use it for doing market research. Something that would take me hours, now I can get it condensed, synthesized. So it's very efficient for me, number one. Number two, it's good for giving ideas.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're sitting around and wondering, right? Yeah, and so the beauty of having colleagues that you can bounce off ideas, I just felt like it's also a great platform to get ideas. So I've been super amazed by ChatGPT. I've also been actively looking at Google Gemini
Uh-huh.
and really like exploring how the Google LLMs will now be folded, how Gemini is going to be coming into the core. So it's really like, I would say, ChatGPT and then Google that I'm closely looking. And then tangentially, I know our team also looks at code assisting tools,
Yeah.
Manuel. So we have a lot of software developers and just them using, so the data scientists and programmers use a lot of boutique tools for
Sure.
coding.
Yeah.
That's also another area that I've been excited about.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the lovable and the replit. For
Mm,
me, I've been able to. I built an MVP on those, and then I pushed them to the smart guys to finish it up.
okay.
But it's amazing how much work I could get done in terms of just user experience and all the bells and whistles that I wanted in the software, and then being able to push it over and have the coders do it.
Yeah, yeah. And, I've also liked some of the apps that are available in ChatGPT. It's
Yeah,
like specialized by different verticals. So they also, do a lot. And what we do as a company is we access the APIs
right.
of the LLMs. And so I've been amazed by conversational AI. So what was
Yeah,
historically like a BI product, you have to go
yeah,
in, you have to select five different buttons, Emmanuel, and sometimes like figure out what the heck is going on. Where are the gaps and opportunities? You just ask a question and he'll summarize it for you. That's a game changer.
yeah.
Wow. I mean, I just save so much time.
Indeed. What about custom GPTs inside of your what you're doing? Have you built some customs for yourself?
Yes, that's an area that we're actively exploring. And
Yeah.
so specifically, this was my topic around, do we build custom GPTs by different verticals, by different
Hmm.
size of the companies, by different markets? How do we do that? When do we begin to create, specialized GPTs for, like, so we're thinking like, do we build specialized GPTs for all clients?
Right.
Or, do some of our largest clients that are spending over a certain dollar and
Right.
asking deeper questions, do they deserve a curated GPT? So it's all actively looking at these.
Love it. I mean, I think that's beautiful. We all have to be experimenting, right? And to see what matches our clients, our workflows, our teams, and find how we can leverage and get the 6 to 10 times return in terms of
Yeah.
time and money, right?
Yeah, yeah. Here's a question for you, man. Like, have you found that, these custom curated GPTs are the way to go for uh, all clients? Or, I mean, my hypothesis is you have to create them for those that have some of the biggest problems, that are willing to spend the dollars, and you have to find out models to use, these curated models, slice it up and sell it to the SMBs. So it's a different business model, and I'm kind of thinking through this. So
Yeah.
yes, you might be a retailer, you might be a shoe brand, but if you're, a small shoe brand, you may not be able to afford what a custom GPT it requires. But
Yeah.
that said, if there are 100 shoe brands, then could you buy a bulk pack and then slice it up and let everyone use? It's even a business
Interesting.
model question I've had. I'm curious what you think.
Yeah. How I'm deploying it right now is that the $20 a month chat GPT, you can build your custom GPT. So, like we said, everybody should have a doppelganger, and then everybody should have a departmental custom GPT. And then there really needs to be one big brain for the whole company that is accessed by everybody. So, for for most companies, $100 to $200 a month, they're going to be able to build out an initial custom GPT environment.
Mm,
And I think that there's some middleware to build for that, like you're just talking about, right? Where it can be simplified because obviously you've been in tech for your whole career. You understand it much deeper than I do. I understand it much deeper than my clients do. So everything has to be retail ready, for people who have got a lot of other things besides learning tech. So that
yes.
hasn't happened yet.
Yes, yes, and that's an area that we're also kind of thinking through, which is how do you deploy this new amazing technology, share it with clients, and then help them purchase this with at the budget at where they're at, without
Right.
really being priced super high here.
Yeah, and so from my perspective, obviously the easiest way to implement is into the marketing department. I can take what I've already done with my agency, push that into a marketing department. They can get immediate value week one.
Yes.
Once we see that ROI for a client, then they're willing to do it in other departments because they can see the leverage.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we work with marketing folks all the time, and you're right. Some of the blocking and tackling, especially on search marketing, for example, which would require hours or Excel and this tool, or even like this is why I think conversational AI is so interesting. Like, your historical tools require you to sit down and drill.
Right.
And I know our marketers are overwhelmed with data, they're
Yeah.
overwhelmed with tools. And so just AI and conversational AI just helps them save so much time and focus on why they went into marketing in the first place, which is to be
Right.
creative and strategic
Right.
versus spend the whole day like just doing pivot tables and charts, which I I know many marketers do not like to do.
No,
So it just makes the job much more fun. And you're right, it brings efficiency. And the other thing is, at a time when marketing is changing so much and there's so much pressure on marketing to do more with less, this is literally aligned with with our agenda.
for sure. Yeah. And I guess what kind of time savings have you seen on your teams from leveraging these tools?
Yeah, so I'll give you an anecdote from our software team. So my head of software was saying that there was a certain job that he gave to one of his key engineers. Historically, that would have taken about 2 weeks. And he said with some of the AI tools, the guy did it within a day.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's mind blowing. And the other example is the classic market research, which is you come out and say, hey, help me to understand my competition, help me understand how I go to market. That would sometimes require a very experienced MBA
Yeah.
senior high, if you will.
McKinsey or
Yeah,
somebody,
the
right?
McKinsey, like pay a big check. And now you need to understand the right questions to ask.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's the intelligence that I think graduates need to have. You need
Right.
to understand what are the right questions. And when you do that, the models give you amazing insights. And it saves so much time. It gives power to folks that know the right questions to ask.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where I drew the line. I'm like, I'm going to become a good enough prompt writer that I'm not going to be an engineer, but I'm going to still get good answers that I can put into action.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you like even this is an interesting topic, talking about AI and policy. It's almost like you cannot rely on AI for everything. You need a certain amount of intelligence.
Yep.
You need a certain amount of knowledge. Maybe that's a better word about the industry. What are important questions to ask? Because yes, AI does provide you important questions that people are asking. Like, for
Yep.
example, clients are like, what are my clients asking is a question sometimes they ask us.
Right.
And AI does also offer you that insight, but you need to also have some of that insight yourself.
Yeah, the human in the loop is still a true step. We still have to have that, and you know, there's a lot of, as we know, a lot of conversation about agentic and it's super consciousness and all these things. It'll be interesting to see what happens in our lifetime or not. But right now, the experience that I have of 35 years of marketing leads to better work with the tool. And we all know that there's a lot of terrible marketing that's happening now with those
Yes.
same tools.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think like the experience is priceless, especially now, because the human in the loop, I think some of the basic human in the loop will slowly go away as the models get better and better.
sure.
But it's also, I think, important if we talk about AI governance and policies to make sure that senior people who have years of experience or diversity,
Yeah.
in
Yep.
thinking are part of the governance and AI policy committee,
Yep.
because it's like your models are only as good as the data you feed in. And if your data is biased, you know that the answers will be biased.
Absolutely.
And my
Yep.
hypothesis is, a lot of the models are trained on data that's coming from a certain subset of the society or certain parts of the world.
Sure.
And so you have a sampling bias.
Right.
And so how do you make sure that your models aren't weighted too heavily by companies that have been around for too long, for a long time, because
Right.
they have the most amount of data,
Yep.
and sectors and markets that have the most amount of data? So I think that's an important question that I think the LLMs have to make sure that they debias.
And that, I think you bring up a great point, in that we all have to remain critical thinkers and make sure that that we're testing the answers, and that we're using different LLMs to validate good answers or not good answers, right?
Yeah, let them compete, and then we act as the quarterback, and then we ask different kinds of questions, different models, test it in different ways, stress test it so that we can make the judgment call.
Yeah. Well, Prasanna, I really appreciate this conversation. I'm very thankful for your time today. Thank you so much for wandering around in this conversation with me. I always enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, this is a fascinating topic. This is something that we're working on all the time. Clients are asking, so I'm happy to be helpful, and I know we're all learning. And so this knowledge sharing that you do, I appreciate that, Emanuel.
Yeah, thank you very much. And GrowByData.com, that's the correct URL?
Correct. Yes.
Yep. And all the information will be in the show notes, so people can reach out and talk to you if they have some questions for you.
Of course, happy to be helpful.
All right. Thank you so much, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that this conversation on governance, on policies, procedures, paying attention to how the LLMs are representing your company, and monitoring that in some way, so that you have an idea of how you're showing up. I hope that is helpful to you. Also, this idea that you can take a 2-week project and boil it down into 1 day is amazing leverage. And it's not just in coding that this happens. It happens for us in marketing, on lots of different projects, and whatever your job function is, it will help you as well. So I hope that you take some time to find a tool that can help you, or a project, and test it in one of the LLMs, and that with the time you save, that you spend that time educating yourself, upskilling, or spending it with your friends and family, or getting outside and going out into nature. It's Emanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.